Hello friends, today we discuss about structures or you can say loops in LabVIEW. Basically in this, first I lock this. So over here is my for loop. So it is similar to C language. Over here we can say for loop is a finite loop. This is indexing. Mainly it will start from 0. It is loop iteration. It will start from 0 and goes up to n minus 1. This is count, loop count. Over here you have to set the value till which your loop runs. Basically it is called a finite loop. This is the structure of for loop, and in this for loop there is some important points, like if you want to convert this for loop into while loop, means if we set the value of n is very large, and if we want to stop this loop in between, so for that purpose I just click on the edge, right click, then add conditional terminal. This will create a terminal so that you can stop this for loop in between also. So I take a example of this also. So first I take default for loop. This is the default for loop, and in this case I just take a addition, and in this I want to add random number value with loop iteration value, and in this case let I want total 10 value. So in this program my loop runs 10 times. Basically it will start from 0 and goes up to n minus 1. So my loop goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it go auto stop, and it will generate the value. And when I connect this over here, it will create auto, it is auto indexed, and over here it will create a array, means it has total 10 values in this, and these values are like when I hit on run button like this. So as you see over here, this part is the created by a random number. So over here is my loop count, because in this the value of random number is in between 0 to 1, and here is the loop count which goes from 0 to 9. So over here 0, 1, 2, 3 as you see, and over here I got the values of this loop. So in the default mode the auto indexing is on in the case of for loop. If you want to change it to last value or concatenate it to a conditional, these are the another options available, but default it is auto indexing in case of for loop. So this is the case of for loop, and using this you can create an array, basically 1D array. So if you want to create a 2D array, for that purpose I just create another for loop over here. This is called nested loop, means loop under loop. So I also create a constant and put the value 10, and when I connect this to the edge of this, it will give me a 2D array. As you see over here, this is my scalar value, over here this is my 1D array, and over here is my 2D array. So for results, like select this, I put over here, and this will give me a 10 cross 10 values. So when I hit on run button, it will generate values. Okay, so if you want to check total 10 values, 10 rows and 10 columns are there. As you see, first I increase this one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and when I further increase this, there is a blank value. Okay, so this is the case of nested loop in for loop. So basically, outer loop run one time, and inner loop run 10 times. Basically, this is the concept in this. So this is the case of for loop. Then we go to our next structure, which is while loop. Basically, while loop is a infinite loop. It is similar to C language. Over here, this is my loop iteration, and this is my stop button. This loop runs for infinite time till when I stop this. So according to this, I create again addition, and in this case, when I connect this over here, this is a let random number. I put random number in the numerics, and when I create control, and it will generate values. In case of while loop, it is default at last value. As you see, you can convert it to index mode also, like this. So in this case, over here we have a array. So when I hit on run button, it create so many values, and when I stop it, so there are so many values in the while loop. So to stop this, I just create a wait stop button, not stop button, wait for 1000 milliseconds, so that when I hit on again run button, in this case, when I hit on stop, in this case, it will generate only few values like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 5 seconds, I create a stop button. So this is the case of while loop. You can also convert this while loop into for loop, as you see over here. When I delete this, right now I want to create this while loop into a stop for loop. So for that purpose, I just take a comparison. When this value, when this indexing value, it is equal to 10 as in for loop, so it will give me, right now it will give me total 10 values. So when I hit on run button, as you see, there is a basic difference between while loop and for loop. In this case, I put 10, so that when it is equal to 10, or when it is equal to 9, in this case, it will create a true function, and it is stop right now. So this is the case. There is a basic difference between for loop and while loop. For loop is finite loop, while loop is infinite loop. In while loop, when you run your program, it will while loop run at least one time. It will run at least one time, but this is not the case in for loop. So you have to remember this. So this is the case how you convert your while loop into for loop. So this is the structure of while loop. So next structure, in this structures, we have case structure. Case structure is basically, in this you have to select the cases. Default, in the default case, there are only two cases, true and false. Like when I create a push button over there, and when I connect this to our case structure, and I want to generate 5 volt and 0 volt in this case, so I put true. In this case, I put 15, and in the false case, I just put 0. So it will give me these two values according to my selection. So over here this is the indicator. So when I hit on continuous run, my boolean is on false, it give me 0. When I hit on, it give me 15. So using this you can use your case structure. In the case structure you can select anyone, you can connect your boolean to the case structure, you can connect your floating point to your case not floating point, you can connect your integer control to your case structure, because in this case the structure cases are like 1 2 3 4 5 6, not like 1.1 1.2. okay, so again there is the case of, like, I again select the case structure, and over here I select a numeric control, and I want to change this to integer, and when I connect this to this, the cases are 0 and 1. This is the default case. You have to make a default case in the case structure, because if the case which is not present in the case structure is executed, like in this case when I put the numeric value 2, the case of 0 is executed. So over here, like, I put a constant, I just connect this to this. In this case 0 is going outside, in this case 1 is going outside, so create indicator. So when I put 2 or 3 or 4 in this, which is not the part of case, it will generate a default case. In this case my value is 0, and when I put 1, it will give me 1. So this is the case of case structure with numeric case. And you have, when you want to add some case after this, like this case 2, over here, like, I create a constant and put a value 2, and another case after this, and in this case the value is 3, let. So when I again continuous run it, so 1 2 3, according to this I got the value, and when I hit again increase, so the fourth case is not available, so it will give me default case. Okay, so this is the case of case structure with numeric part. Then we go to string part. So again I take a case structure, and in this case I take a string control. So this is my string control, and when I connect this to my string, so over here, like, I put the name A, then the character should be same. If it is capital, it should be capital in the string. B, then add case after, it should be like C. So I put some values, or put a string control like cat in the case of C. In the case of B, like, I have a bat, just connect this, and in the case of A, it is an apple. So I just connect this, and over here this is my indicator, and when I continuously run this, in the default case the value is nothing, so default case is A for apple, it is gone. Then when I put B in this, it will give me bat, and when I put C in this, it will give me cat, and when I put D in this, the default case is there, apple. Okay, so this is how you can use your case structure in LabVIEW. It is very easy. So our next structure is flat sequence. Basically flat sequence is little bit similar to our case structure. In this case also there are cases, but in flat sequence the cases are executed in a manner, like in a process. For example, first I put a dialog box in this. So over here this is a one button dialog. So message is let start the process. After this, I add a case in this. So when this one is executed, after this one is this one is executed. So over here, process, and at the last, let I have to stop the process. So one by one it is executed. In the case of case structure, we have to select the case. In this case, this is executed one by one. So over here, this is my stop. Okay, so this is the case, and when I hit on run button, as you see, start the process. When I hit on this OK, next dialog button, process, next dialog button, stop. So it will execute like this. First this will execute the portion of program placed in this part. It will execute first, then it will execute, then it will execute. So this is a process. So this is the case of flat sequence, and there is a another structure, stacked sequence. You can convert this. The stacked sequence is similar to flat sequence, but there is a difference. In this flat sequence, there is a space requirement is more, but in stacked sequence there is a, when you replace it with stacked sequence, over here there are cases are there like 0, 1, 2, and these are executed in a manner. So first 0 execute, then 1, then 2. Okay, so this is the case of stacked sequence in LabVIEW. You can use in your process. So after this, we go to our structures again, and we have formula node. Like we have a formula node. This is similar to your C coding. You can check using help. You can perform these formulas using this. So for example, I have input A, which is equal to B into C, like this. In this, my input is, let capital A, and over here I want to add input. My input is B, another input is C, and another output is A. So you have to create control over there, and over here indicator. So right now it is broken arrow because there is a error. You have to put semicolon over here. Right now it is okay. So control U, it is minimize space. So when I put on values like 4, 7 into 5 into 7, it give me 35. Okay, so like this you can create any expression, any program in this, and according to the program it will execute your program. Okay, so this is the case of for loop, formula node, not for loop. Next, if you want to disable or enable any part of your program, for example, I have a program like this. I have multiple functions in this, and when I connect this over here, this is my control, this is my X input, this is Y input. This is my, so this is my program, and I want to disable this plus part in this. So when I use disabled structure like this and this, it will disable and it will pass the same value as you see. So when I put value in this like 1 and over here 2, so it will give me 1 and 2, give me 1 plus 2, 3, 3 over here, 3, and over here it is 1, and over here it is 2, so it is 2, so 3 by 2 it is 1 by 5. So check it, there is not defined, because this part is nowhere. Over here we have no connection. So when I enable this, and in the case of enable, like this, as you see, we have 0.5, and in the case of disable, we have same value. Okay, so you have to disable this. If you want to disable any part, you can use this, and this is the case of when we disable this. Okay, so if you want to disable any part of your program, you can use this. So this is how you can use structures in your programming. So in the structures, we have some decoration part also, like if you want to label something, if you want to frame something, or if you want to indicate something, you can use these arrow. Okay, and in this we have feedback node, some local variable and global variable. If you want to put some value in a vi from one place to another place, you can use local variable. If you want to place the value from one vi to another vi, or you want to transfer value from one vi to another vi, you can use global variable. So this is all about structures or loops in LabVIEW. Thank you.